So please take it away, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from the San Francisco Bay Area. I was born in Oakland, raised in Alameda, fifth grade. So very multicultural background environment. I come from a biracial family. Mother's Scottish Canadian, father's African American. And I grew up in this. I know we don't talk about religion, so I'm not going to go down into the rabbit hole. But I grew up in this Buddhist community, and so that was a Japanese Buddhist community. I had a Scottish Canadian, and I had African American. So and it was just multicultural Bay Area. So a lot of different cultural influences growing up, and I just got to see how things moved in different worlds. And they're different culturally, handshakes. I mean, just the emphasis on certain words that are being used, not used, certain concept. It's different, as you all know, because you guys are multicultural, traveling the world. You work at multicultural companies, and so you guys see in how we call it code switching. And I think that gets a negative rap because at times it's like we have to do it and don't want to do it. But there's a skill set in being able to speak different languages and move in different environments and be able to move through different countries and cultures and do business and all of those things. So I think just for me and probably people that grow up in the San Francisco Bay Area and probably a lot of metropolitan cities, it's just kind of, par for the course. So, I noticed with my dad, who was an entrepreneur, small time entrepreneur, so he always had kind of like small businesses going. He did not like the 9 to 5 W-2 life. He wanted to build out his own thing. And so, a lot of his colleagues, other black men, black women, the businesses that he would run these nightclubs, clean and sober nightclubs. So the money was not made at the bar, the money was made at the door. And so these were in my mind, as I look back, I was like, well, that's kind of like an impact driven business because it was about bringing folks together and uplift. And I didn't think of it that way at the time, but in a corporate type of a context, I can see it being this impact driven, or maybe even, yeah, just the business world. There was a focus and an emphasis to uplift and bring folks together in community. So that was just always in me and baked in me. And at the same time, I think just seeing my dad and seeing other businessmen, specifically black businessmen, it wasn't exclusive, but pretty specifically, that just became like a normalized thing in terms of business. It was specifically the black community in terms of doing business or how to do business or what, just that whole even identity of manhood, and success going together. That was imprint in me. Not the only imprint, but definitely imprinted me on early on of that being a path and an avenue for success. Building a black owned and black focused business was just normal. So I was like, okay, got it. So, I just had that in mind, and one of his biggest clubs is called J Loves. So Jewel Love. And so I'm J Love Jr. And they would all, hey, there's J Love's kid and all that. So there's that. Let's see. Moved to Alameda, fifth grade. Kept growing up there. Junior high, high school. Whole nother experience. Junior high was a little tough. High school was awesome. And then I went to Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara undergrad. Now, keep in mind all that multicultural stuff I just named. UC Santa Barbara was not. It was diverse, but it was very segmented. So it was like black students here, Filipino students here, Indian students here, white students were the majority. So, when I remember looking back in like the frat houses, there was just like so many white, primarily frat houses. So it was very much like a racially divided, like not segregated, divided, not those terms, but just like separated out very much. And so I just remember that. And I remember going to some of the frat parties and some of the white frat parties, and be like huge house. But there were just things that were just newer to me. They would have keggers. I didn't know what a kegger. I was very unfamiliar with keggers. The music wasn't always something I related to. Sometimes they would have no music, and it was a party. That didn't even compute. No music, alcohol equals party. I didn't understand. I didn't understand the entertainment factor. But if you think about a bar or a pub, think about that. You go to a pub, there's maybe music playing, and you're sitting and drinking for 2 hours, let's say. So you just do that in a frat house. But Me and my friends, we didn't grow, we just, it was culturally different. Um, and then so, they started, yeah, folks started coming around and saying, man, you should come to the Black Hall because there's like a Black student hall. And I didn't stay in the Black Hall my freshman year. I stayed off campus, if you will. And they're like, come and kick it. And so I came and kicked it and made friends. And then they had the alpha parties, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. I didn't know anything about, I didn't know anything about Black fraternities, nothing. My family, we grew up very on both sides, with my mom, my dad, very economically humble, like very. And so all the like middle and upper middle class Black life and all that kind of stuff, I was not exposed to. So then I'm learning about alphas and kappas and omegas and AKAs and deltas and all this kind of stuff. And the parties were amazing, incredible. I mean, the music and the dance. I was at home. I was in my zone, and I was like, perfect. This is this is my squad. This is my zone. I'm rolling with the Black community. Now I had various friends. Don't get me wrong. I had friends that are Indian and white and all the different stuff, man. All the different stuff. But that was my choice, if you will. And then I got into politics and activism and got into revolutionary politics because I knew about racism for sure, but it wasn't something that I knew from like a fully political kind. I don't know, I understood the concept, but it wasn't a huge part, of my life growing up. Perhaps more because of the Bay Area, perhaps just my mixed experience. It's just a different experience, one of those two or something different. But it wasn't so heavy in my space until I really started to learn about it in college. So late bloomer. And then I learned about the history and how racism played into laws and formal segregation, economic policy throughout Africa, transatlantic slave trade, United States, Caribbean, and I just went deep. And I was like, okay, this is like a whole conspiracy. Not that it happened, but that we're not all talking about it today. How did I not know all of this? And it's a huge part of American history. So then I had and I know we got to get to the community building. We're
Yeah,
gonna get
it's okay. I'm sure we're leading into that.
perfect. So this is coming around, and um, I feel betrayed. I felt betrayed. That all of this was part of our history in the United States, and I know you're in Canada, and so maybe just on a global scale, just like there were these traumatic histories that that impact us today. That even though they were technically over in terms of let's say U.S. slavery, there's lasting impacts, and so that became my obsession, and I just focused on it more and more and more and more and more. Plus, I was having this experience at this university where white people were the clear majority, but not just in numbers, in terms of culture, economics, and they were just super dominant. And there was occasions where there would be racist things that would happen, and I just like, how is this still happening? Like they don't know. Mind you, I'm learning about some of this stuff too, but many of them were full on clueless and were doing things that were at the time. I mean, maybe if they're doing it now still, were culturally insensitive, let's say on one end of the scale, and on the other side of the scale, just I'd say maybe hurtful and harmful.
Yeah. So
And
all of that as leading into today has informed.
absolutely, yeah. So sorry, I'm sorry, folks. All of
No,
that
no,
leading
it's
into
yeah,
today.
right.
So I go into politics, and it's student politics, mind you, and like revolutionary student politics in terms of ideology. And we won some kind of campaigns, but it was just so backed by lack and loss that even when we won, we just searched for the next thing to win. There was no end. There was never going to actually be a finish because the purpose was to be revolutionary in nature. So I had to let that go. I was like, no, there's got to be something else. And then I went down the path of exploring different religions. So I left Buddhism behind. It was great upbringing, but I just said, I'm just thirsty to learn and what else is out there. And so I studied a lot of world religions. And then, long story short, found myself in therapy because I was growing in age. I was like 26, 27. My friends were getting married, kids, buying homes, master's degrees, and I'm still trying to figure out life late in my 20s. So I end up like, someone's like, you need to go talk to this therapist. I do. It was a powerful experience. And I learned that I love therapy. You get to like talk about your feelings and your inner world and like address things from the past and shift things around and look at the world differently. It was so powerful. I said, this is my calling. Like, this is what I want to do. I went back, I got my master's. And then shortly thereafter, because I'd always been thinking, I want to start my own business. I want to start my own business. And there was a brother who came in, suited and booted, came from a two-parent upper middle class family, Harvard Business School grad, about to get married. He worked in nonprofit, but for me, it was all lumped into like this corporate kind of world. And I just thought this man was he was amazing. I didn't grow up with brothers like this. He was so well put together. And I said, I have something to learn from this man. And I want to spend more time around him and guys like him. So what's his goal in life? Guys, this is where the workshop begins. What is his goal? And not mine, right? Not Jewel Love Therapy. By the way, I was doing therapy, not coaching at the time. Not Jewel Love Heals. No, that's not their goal. That's me. That's like Oprah, right? That's the me show. What's their show? What's his goal? So I had to think about his mind, his goals, his psychology. And so I thought about it, and it took me a little while. Save you the long story, it landed with Black Executive Men. Men, there's a distinction. Not man, man is singular. Men is plural, community. So I knew eventually this was going to be a community of some sort, or I guess I wanted it to be of some sort. So that was born, Black Executive Men, and the market loved it. So that was the second thing. I shopped the name to the market because I had different names, Black Professional, different stuff. And they were like, this one, we love this. I was like, boom, BEM, let's go. We're running with that one. And so that's how BEM was born. I did tremendous market research by essentially working with guys for the past 8 years, psychotherapy for 6 years, coaching for 2 years. And last year, I started a very simple WhatsApp group. So if you're looking to beta test a community idea, phenomenal place to start, starting on WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp has some security concerns that are serious. Yeah, they have some serious gaps in their security. I don't say this as a knock to WhatsApp. I say this in terms of you thinking about how to build out a community and a platform. Don't ignore that, guys. I thought I could ignore it, and then it just came around and bit me in the butt to the point where I just could not ignore it anymore. But if you're starting out small, you can start a WhatsApp group, get people in there, chat with them, get a bunch of their feedback. What are the words they use? Use those words. What are the phrases they use? In your marketing, use those phrases because the market is giving you what they want and who they are. So did that.
Joe, just a
Oh, go
second.
ahead.
So you said something that's very important. This was an 8-6-4 year journey. It wasn't simply started a year and a half ago. Right. And that's very important for folks to understand that it's a journey. It's not simply, I have an idea and I'm just going to go out there and, make it happen. Right. So can you succinctly just talk about that, the 8-6-4 to where we are today? And then I'll open it up. I think we have, who is it I'll put it up to Che, to ask a question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, well, absolutely. So it took a long time, but the thing that took a long time wasn't gathering the information. It was all right there, kind of all the time. It was me kind of even growing psychologically into whole. I'm getting therapy-ish on you guys for a moment. Just roll with me. Is to be able to kind of hold space for this community that I was learning about myself. The
But
corporate,
Joel, it's important.
it's huge.
It's important. I mean, the kind of mindset work you require, not only on yourself, but also, like you said, some of the conversations that, we've had at the community. How do you pull that back? So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted
No, we're
to,
good.
yeah,
I'm good with the redirection.
yeah, go ahead. The eight to
Yeah,
six to
so
four, yeah.
yeah, so these are just things that you should definitely keep in mind. For me, it wasn't overnight. The overnight success, I guess, if you will, was then saying, I'm kind of ready to start this community, and then doing that, and then from there, I started listening for what guys kind of wanted, and they kept saying like, "Oh, we want to meet, we want to meet." I'm like, "Okay, well, how do we organize a meeting? We're all over the United States and in the UK. Let's do regions, right?" I mean, that's a pretty, kind of, it's like wherever guys are at, meet there. So then we, tried to have them meet in regions. It didn't happen. So forget it. We're going to launch this thing. This is going well. This small community, it's going well. Let's expand. So I created a WhatsApp community, and then I put a bunch of different regions and a bunch of different cohorts, educational cohorts, and I put the link just out on LinkedIn, and guys started filtering in. We had 450 guys that filtered in, and it was a great experience. Learned a lot. Um, so I think things to keep in mind for you all that are building communities is, yeah, you can do it on your own for sure. Paid, free, those you can make all of those work. I'd say think about your staff though. Who do you want to help you run your community? I wouldn't necessarily think of trying to do it all yourself. So you're probably going to need a virtual assistant, two, maybe three, but you can start off with one good VA. And then you might have some other staff that are running different groups. Because if you just put people in a community with no facilitation, it's going to die probably, or it's going to go off the rails into territory, and people who start getting offended, offending others. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual topic of the group, that specific channel itself. And then people are going to lose it. People could very well lose interest. So I would say having facilitators is going to be think about having a garden outside. Weeds will grow. Weeds are going to grow. And you got to have someone, a gardener, someone that's pulling those weeds out. Otherwise, it will take that garden. So I think those are some things to keep in mind.
All right, thanks. Let me put it up for Che. Che, to see you on. Evening, brother. Do you have any questions for Jill before we kind of carry on? Che?
Sorry, I keep pushing the wrong thing. No, no, I don't have any questions. I'm just listening and learning.
All right, thank you so much, Jill. So let's walk through the iteration of the WhatsApp group. You talked about, having the virtual assistants. Was that the only support that you had? What was the structure behind it? I mean, I
Yeah.
know that you talked about the regional groups and also folks finding out into having live meetings. So how did you conceive the structure and the support?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so I think he was listening to that initial 36-man WhatsApp group. It was just one group, just one. There's no other thing. It's just like if you go on your phone, WhatsApp, create a group, add 36 people, that's what it was. And I put the BEM logo for the image, so it made it this community group, right? I didn't leave it blank. It actually, I think it might have me, like my image in there first, because I was still on like, I want the attention because I want these people to become my paid clients. That's how I was still thinking about it. And so it's like, this is the jewel love, head of the, head of the empire, head of the pile, like type of group. And then at some point that changed. And I was like, no, I'm going to put the brand first and really have guys and really, so we can really highlight guys in the community and highlight the community itself, not just focused on me. And there's a couple other reasons I did that. But that was the branding for it. And I listened. Like, what are they talking about? What are we talking about? And it was a lot of career stuff. And so that's how I was able to kind of come up vaguely with the group names of what would generally be helpful. And I asked guys, where are you located? And they told me. So I had the information of regionally where guys were. And so that was regions. And then topics based on what we were talking about, I was like, okay, well, professional development, right? Corporate guys, entrepreneurship, real estate. Like these were just the topics guys were talking about. So then WhatsApp launched communities. And a WhatsApp community is basically this format where you can stack a bunch of groups. So remember that 36-person group, I could put that in there and then put like 20 more groups in there.
Right. But the seeding of the 36 into WhatsApp, where did that come from?
So I'll back up a bit. I was in
Please.
this coaching program.
Because I know that LinkedIn had a play there.
You
But
know what? I completely forgot about it.
Right.
Thank you for naming it. I wasn't
Yes.
even gonna, I just
And
forgot. It blanked
that's
on it.
important because there's this huge platform that everybody's trying to figure out, how do I make the leap out to my own?
Yeah. So just a bit of a backstory. I was in this coaching program. I ended up paying, I don't know, like 25, let's say 25K for it. It was a really good coaching program. And it was all about how you build a group coaching practice, essentially. So I'm in there and I'm having this experience where people are paying a lot of money to be coached, and they had different leaders in the community. So I got to see is like, okay, if you really want to build this thing out, you're gonna need various supports. But I couldn't get it off the ground. I just couldn't, because I was charging 10K and I just couldn't get enough people at the same time to have this group experience. So I was like, forget charging 10K. Let me just get the group experience going right now. Because I would post on LinkedIn and people would respond. Maybe it's 10 people, maybe it's 800 people. But all of that traffic, those likes, I would post and it was gone because I would try and get them to sign up for my 10K offer. And out of them, maybe 0.5%, 0.1% would actually sign up. So think about it. All of those people said, I love this, or I like this, or I'm interested, but I didn't capture any of that attention, right? So all of that effort, it's just gone. Every post, gone. I said, I gotta capture this. It's like having a sail and capturing all the wind. I gotta capture it. And once they're in my funnel or my community, I can upsell them to my 10K offer, right? Because now they're in my zone. So I started with LinkedIn. Now on LinkedIn, you can create kind of like a group, but let's say you want to send someone a message, okay? So you put their name in, like send message, you put their name in there and their name pops up if you're connected with them, and you write your message and you send, right? But you can add another person. And so now it's like a group message. You can add 20 people in there. So, and you can give that thing, that group message, a name. So I started to do that, and then I named it San Francisco for guys that I was talking to in San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Atlanta. So on LinkedIn, where your all's messages and my messages are, there's all these groups that had names. And so every time I met someone on LinkedIn, not every time, but many times, I'd say, hey, do you want to join our group, our community, regional hubs, something like that? And they're like, yes. I would add those guys to those groups. So those groups started to stack up, and guys were talking. It got chatty in there. And the beautiful thing about it is it was connected to LinkedIn. So you could click on their name and you're in the platform and see who they are, where they work, what their industry, where they live, or what's, where they report to be at, all that stuff. It was great. But we outgrew it. It just didn't have the function. It's not designed for that. We just outgrew it. I knew we needed another more robust platform. And then that was the pivot to WhatsApp. And I just made the groups, and then I had people pivot over.
Thank you. So structure-wise, you've pivoted over to WhatsApp. You have the 36 members in, and then you're listening in to determine what group formation you should have. So how many did you have on the groups, and how many did you have in terms of what we would call the interests?
The groups or the interests? Can you say it in another
So
way?
the groups in terms of the regions, and then the interests in terms of what people.
Yep, got it. Yep, regions, interests.
Right.
So I'm not too sure of those numbers per se. Um, I just knew that, so I'll say this, that online, so many black men were saying, like when I would post, they would say, I want to connect, I want to network, I want to mentor, I want to sponsor, I don't have anywhere to go. Not directly like that, but it was just clear there were so many guys that were feeling isolated, alone on an island. Literally, these are the words that I would hear them use, or in my one-on-one practice. So I was like, there's a huge opportunity to get guys connected, just to connect, just to create a community. I don't have to create the need. The need already exists. I just have to create a space to connect guys, and guys flood it in. And that was by making posts on LinkedIn saying, join here, putting the link directly there. People click it, and then they got immediate access to WhatsApp. And it ended up being about 450 some odd guys in, don't quote me, but I don't know, 12 to 15 regions, maybe 8 interest groups, something like that.
That's interesting. That's amazing. In terms of the communities, are they tiered? So you have the communities, whether it be the regions or let me lump the regions in with the interest. Is it tiered? Because I do know you provide a service.
Yeah, so I mean, right now how it works is, and I've been thinking about this as well. So let's say folks are listening out there and you're trying to build a community. Can you sell people right into a community? You absolutely can. You absolutely can. They probably need some kind of priming though still, and some kind of education, especially if you're doing anything high ticket. High ticket's often like 3K plus, maybe some like 2K, but like 3K plus, something like that. You're getting into high ticket sales. And so if you're looking to do that, for somebody cruising around LinkedIn or the internet to from 1 minute to the next hour, they're enrolled in your program and they've given you 3K, 5K, 10K or more, there's probably a couple steps that need to happen in there. Some familiarity with you, confidence in your program, some social proof that other people have done it too and got certain results. And that can be kind of like a scientific thing, right? You just like put this, include this, include this, include this, and it can help to convince people to make that payment. But another way is to provide a free service. So think about all the SaaS programs, right? Like Slack, for example. They had the free, and then they have the upgrade to pro, business, and enterprise. A lot of our favorite SaaS products have a free version, and it's limited, right? You get to a certain place using it, you're like, this is like, I need more, I need the premium because this is just not like, I'm too confined. Like, I need the bells and the whistles. Give it to me, $99 a month or whatever it is, $50, whatever it is. So that's the route that I've decided to take. So what we're looking at here, and I know this is not necessarily an expose on BEM per se in terms of what we're doing, like a commercial for BEM, more of just like community creating. But I am certainly happy to share.
However, this is the enterprise series, so we're really looking at it from a business perspective.
Okay, I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, in that case, yeah, that makes perfect sense then. Let's do the expose. So we're looking at 2 additional tiers. So for me, this has really been a learning process about how to build this kind of community. But there's this organization called Chief out there, and it's for executive women. And they have purportedly 20,000 members with a 60,000 person wait list, 60,000 woman wait list. Their fees are, I think, 5,800 to, I think 50, don't quote me, I think it's 58 to like 7,200 per year to join. So, you can do some quick math. They're not doing too bad. And they got funded, a few hundred million in terms of their funding. So they have a unicorn status, and they started right before the pandemic, and then they blew up because, everyone's at home. They were an online network. It just exploded. Right after Me Too era, just through the roof. We're looking to do the same thing for Black men. And yet some of the kickback that Chief had and has, there's a few, but one is that it's too elite. And so by only working with senior women, they have women that are more junior that are accusing them, just being elitist, this is that. So we said, we're going to have a platform for everyone in our community. That means guys that are just starting out of college, out of work, can't get a job, can't keep a job, to guys that are full on C-suite, Fortune 500, CIO, Northrop Grumman, the whole gamut. So our next step up, what we're looking at is BEM Gold. We're still landing the price point on that. I don't want to say what we're, kind of thinking about right now, but it's going to be a drop in the bucket for sure for that. And that's going to just be a more elite, more exclusive program. This is going to be for more mid-level type managers. And then we're going to have BEM Elite, which is going to be for essentially VP, C-level, paid board role guys. And those are going to come with different membership benefits and amenities as well. So in this way, we really cover the corporate gamut when it comes to Black men's networks. I can go on and on about that, but that's what we're looking, and those are going to be at different price points as well. And I just want to put it out there, man, we're looking to make a lot of money. I just want people, up front, because people always hit me with the nonprofit, and I love that. In BEM community, we're gearing that up to stay free, and so that has give back energy in it, because people are literally volunteering their time to do it. But those other sectors, we want those to be money printers.
You talk about the cycle, the life cycle of men through corporate. What about those who are transitioning out? So those who are VPs transitioning out. I know one of my acquaintances recently joined, so I've spoken to you about him. He's in, he's a C-level, looking to transition out. But he's looking to transition out, but build a brand so he can go on these speaking engagements and be called on for consulting engagements, right? He's not looking to stay in corporate forever. He has a book out and he's looking to transition. What about folks like that?
Yeah. So BEM, man, I was just talking with my partner Jay Holmes in the BEM Capital side of the equation. BEM is interesting what we're doing here, because what we've really done, I believe, we've identified an identity that has not been spoken to very much, which are Black men in corporate world. I would say corporate America, but it's the corporate world. So, basketball player, a lot of highlight. Ball, entertainer, a lot of highlight. We can even say through hip hop, drug dealer. It's just like this, almost this brand, if you will, of male and especially Black male identity. What we're focusing on is corporate Black men, and this is a really, in terms of that, this brand or community, it's very underserved. It's dramatically underserved, but there's so much power, there's so much intellect, and there's so much money in this class of Black men specifically. And we want to highlight this class of Black men. So while we have those core offerings, what we're building out is actually even bigger than that. Because we're looking at BEM Media as well. So, and we've already have BEM Capital. And so that's a private equity firm. And how we're organizing that is with Black male LPs. So these are the investors investing into Black male GPs. So these would be, the people that are orchestrating the deal, finding and orchestrating the deal. So the returns come right back to the community. In those companies that they're investing in or standing up, let's say we do VC deals, when they need hires, which they will, they're already in the community. We've got that talent. We've got engineers, we've got marketers, we've got managers, we've got frontline workers that are phenomenal, and some guys need jobs. And so it's just this ecosystem of sorts. With this philosophy, we have everything we need to thrive in our own community. And that's really what we're building out here at BEM. So I think for this colleague, your friend, I would say that would probably be linking up with BEM Media, where it's a combination of making sure that he has not just his headshot, but his media kit done, his podcast tour done, his book done, his own podcast done, and having our team reach out to organizations on his behalf, so he can essentially just negotiate what deal he wants to take, and show up and actually do the service. So that's probably more on the BEM media side of the equation that could support him in that fashion.
All right, thanks so much. Hey, I see you've come on. Do you have any questions for Joe?
I'm sorry, did you ask me or did you ask
No,
Che?
Che.
Yeah.
Oh, no, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about, how I could be a mover and shaker in this business as well. I'm out of corporate, but I'm also building my own corporation, when I'm doing estate planning. So I want to be like the quintessential guru for estate planning to help people understand why everyone should have an estate, a living trust. So I'm listening to you and getting some knowledge on how you built it, communities. A big flaw for me, I'm not in 100%. I still got that 9 to 5, which I'm trying to get away from. But, eventually that will be going away. And, I got some other things I want to do that, part of the industry, my brand. But man, I'm just appreciating the nuggets you're dropping.
Absolutely. I mean, even if we just explore that a bit in some kind of real-time discussion and potentially coaching, in terms of the estate planning, right? Let's just run with it for a moment. So let's say you wanted to be the estate planner. Now, let's look at that, because okay, let's do this. So there are people in the world who don't know who Michael Jackson is. They don't, right? They don't. They don't know who Michael Jordan is. They don't know They don't know Barack Obama. Everybody knows No, not everybody knows Barack Obama. So one might say, I want to be the best, like president or ball player or accountant or estate planner, right? But it always, on some level, it's going to be a niche. It's going to be a target market. Now that could be a huge target market, right? It could just be, let's say, just men or just women or something like that. But I think that's one of the first things that comes to mind in terms of who, if you kind of had to choose, which can be helpful because we have limited time and resources for a marketing budget, is who would you want to focus on? And then if you created marketing materials for them, you would need a platform. Now, some people like online. I'm an online guy. I live in Mexico, so in person would be tough. But unless I'm selling to Mexicans in Mexico or something, but it could be tough. So let's say, you choose online or you choose in person, and then it's having that dialogue with them on things they want to hear. Not necessarily that we want to say, but it's they want to hear that will make them say, he's talking to me, not in general, but me. And that can have people put their hand up. They may not buy, but they may come into your funnel. But you have to capture. You got to capture. If you don't capture, it's gone. So that's where building a community. Now that could be an email list. There's nothing wrong with an email list. Nothing at all. But a community, see, here's the benefit and power of a community. You bring people that are into estate planning, right? Let's do it. What are 5 pillars of estate planning, just off top? Che, you froze up on us. There we go.
You froze up, but I see it now. Okay.
No worries, we're good to go. What are 5 pillars of estate planning, just off the top?
You got me on that. What do you mean by pillars?
5 concepts. 5 concepts in estate planning.
Living trust, escaping probate, legacy. We have taxes. Protecting your taxes, and I will also say, trust fund babies.
Boom, 5. No, we're good. No, 5. Trust fund babies, 5. So you can always refine them. So let's say you create, we're just talking here, a WhatsApp group. And I want to talk about types of groups in a moment, but WhatsApp group, right? And you put this on LinkedIn, or you put wherever it is, right? And you say, join my group. We're talking about these 5 topics in that group. and how you can learn. And let's just say for free. All right. That's appealing. Free is appealing. So, you put some marketing out there on LinkedIn, you put the link to join, and people join. Next thing you know, you wake up, you got 5 new people in your group, and they've joined the different group that they're interested in. And you have a little announcements tab, and you just say, welcome to all the new members. My name is Che. I run the group. I'm here to see you win in life. Join the groups below that you're interested in. And people, friendly guy, oh, okay. So now they're getting exposed to you. And you as the leader of the whole group. So you're the alpha male, you're the guy in this group. You haven't sold them anything, you haven't pitched, you've given value. So their trust with you goes up now. They're like, oh, there's this guy, Che, he's got this free group, and I'm looking around. You're gonna have people that start talking in those different channels with each other, not you. You don't have to work. They're doing it. It's a community. So, but they're in your community. So, and that's where you can have people come in and do like we have here, giving talks and building value. And you can come in every blue moon or every day if you want, and you can pitch your premium service, which is, folks, this is phenomenal what you're doing here. But if you really want to take it to the next level, let's go ahead and get that one-on-one set up. We're going to set up your estate plan from A to Z or from 1 to 3. And if you want to work with me and I want to work with you, we'll go ahead and take that next step together. And you can even drop prices in there. It doesn't particularly matter. It's your community, you're running it. So that's a way you can leverage posting a few posts on LinkedIn and have people start streaming into your community, talking amongst themselves, keeping each other engaged, and you can pitch to a warm audience, maybe even a hot audience, not a cold audience. It's hard pitching and selling to a cold audience. You can do it. It is not easy percentage-wise to do.
So I have my niches or my client target audience is essential personnel, because my background is law enforcement, military. So those are the people who I know who need it, who I've been there, done that. So that's where I'm talking. I just never thought of the concept of doing like the group and like the WhatsApp. I figure, complications and, I'm good with the talking to people, but getting all that set up and getting running, I wasn't there.
Yeah. You could literally have it set up by the time this is over. It's that easy. On WhatsApp, you could literally just go to group, new group, put the name of it, and it's done. That's it. You want to add communities? Go to communities, or just go to groups, create 5 of those, take you 5 minutes, put the names, go to community, create community, put those all under the community. You could do it by the time we're done with this call. It's that easy. And just start inviting people to it. It's that easy. It's easy.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
And y'all all get an invite.
Yeah. Invite me. I want to come check it out.
Absolutely. So Joel, given we have about 12 minutes, can we talk about the transition to Mighty Networks? So we talked about LinkedIn, seeding through LinkedIn into WhatsApp.
Yeah.
The 450 or so members, the groups, the regional groups, the interests, and now the transition to, Mighty Networks. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, 100%. So, and I'm gonna have to jet about 5 minutes before the hour. Please excuse me, just to prep for the next call. But this is phenomenal. I'm always, I'm a Leo. I love to talk and be on stage. I'm always down for a
You're
round.
kidding me, you're a Leo.
Oh yeah, August 16th, man.
August 23rd. There had to be something.
We don't have to get into the
There had to be something.
The battles between Leos and other what is it? What do we call horoscopes?
I'm a Leo Virgo.
Leo Virgo, there we go. So in terms of pivoting, so what happened on WhatsApp, and this is good for everyone to know. People told me from the very beginning, they said, I'm not even gonna join your new WhatsApp community because there's so many security, I'm like, it'll be fine, right? That kind of mentality, it'll be fine. And it technically kind of was fine for a while. The thing about WhatsApp is that on their platform, you can essentially see who the other members are. You can just scroll up, scroll down, you can see them right there. And if I recall correctly, for many of the guys, it would have their phone number right there. So let's say you got a group of 100 people and you got a scammer that comes in, and they now have access to 100 people that want are essentially interested in, let's say, the services that you offer. They could sell that list, they could forward that list, they could start direct. They say, oh, these are people with money. These are people with money. They can start contacting them directly using your name and saying, hey, I'm so and so, I'm Che. I need Apple cards. Will you send me some Apple cards from the local Apple store? And so people are now getting, people in your community are now getting these messages from you, and it's going to tarnish your, the experience and reputation likely as well. Especially if somebody buys them Apple cards. That's tough, right? That's tough. They thought it was you now. It's hard to apologize for that. So that started happening, but it wasn't just that. We have these fireside guest VP C-level speakers that come in. They started impersonating them. Imagine if that got back to them, that their name is being compromised by hacker spammers in our community. Are they going to want to associate with us? It would be tough. They would think twice about it going forward. We had to cut it. That's when it was, nah, I don't care. Whatever's next is next, because there's no future in this. So we had to move forward. For Che and for everybody that listens in the future as well, I would say think about community platforms into two different buckets. One is a true community platform. And hear me out, there's real differences here. The other is a messaging platform. So let's start with messaging. WhatsApp. The goal is messaging, right? Telegram. What's the other one? There's Telegram, Signal. It's designed to do messages back and forth between folks. Slack. It's designed for messages back and forth between people and teams. So it's quick, it's agile, it's emoji heavy. That's what it's designed for, okay? And then you have community building platforms. So that's, it has events that you can host in there. It has more robust membership information that's going to be on there. It's going to have more of a Facebook feed, a LinkedIn feed type of feed. So you're going to post something static, right? And people comment on the post when they get to it, but it's not real-time conversations. It's not that. Now, these platforms over here, community building, they try and weave in some chat functionality, but from what I've seen in terms of Circle, Mighty Networks, Kajabi's different, but we can just throw it in there, I guess. School, Member Up, something like that. I just checked out another platform. It struggles on chat. It's not like, it doesn't have the engagement, the quickness. It doesn't have the user experience of these pure engagement. So frankly, I know this is hard, but you may have to kind of choose really what kind of an experience you want. BEM grew up on engaging chat. We didn't grow up or cut our teeth on community platform. So right now we have pivoted from engaging chat, which is what guys, when you think about like dopamine hits, guys are logging on to get that experience and get that quick interaction, the quick connection. They're not getting it on the community platform because it's not even built that way. So right now we're at like this in-between phase and seeing where we're going to go next, if we're going to go back to a high engagement chat platform or we're going to stay here. But this has benefits too. But it can be hard to convert one to the other. But Mighty Networks, it has that in terms of events and I'd say things of that nature. So that's where we are at now. Our journey's not done. We're not over. We're still on the mission to find out where really is going to speak to our membership.
Well, thank you
Oh,
so
so
much, Joe. Go
is
ahead,
that
Chief.
why everyone got deleted out of the WhatsApp? Or
Yeah,
oh,
that's
okay.
that's
I didn't know what
exactly
was
what happened.
happening. I was like, 1 minute I was there, 1 minute I was removed. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, we pivoted platforms.
So and the new one's called the Mighty what?
Mighty Networks. You're not
So
on Mighty Networks yet?
I don't think so. I didn't sign up for it, so I'm not sure.
Oh man, this how did you get on? You must be on the calendar invite still. How did you
Yeah.
find out about this session? Calendar invite. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
glad we had that. Man, I'm gonna find you some, you've applied somewhere at some point. So let me find you and I'll add you to Mighty. No problem.
Okay, cool.
Joe, so
Thanks.
thank you so much for your time. 6:55. I want you to be respectful of your time. This has been very educational
Yes,
for me as well as for those who will be listening, I'm sure. Jay, I'm sure you got some nuggets from this.
yes. Thank you, Joseph.
We would
Thank
love to have you back in a couple of months, Joe, just to kind of hear how the journey is going. But thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Take care. Bye bye
Have
for
a good
now.
evening. Take
you.
care.
Stay
Okay, bye.
blessed.
You too. Bye.